to Red Forest. I'm Peyton,
This is Adam.
and today's conversation we're going to start out with a little bit of a controversial topic, and that is that, as you can see, Remington Arms to pay $73 million to nine Sandy Hook families. Now, this happened in around 2012, whenever the shooting happened, and I literally hate it for anyone that had to go through that. I hate it for the kids that lost their life. I hate for anyone that went through all this, and it is sad, and I hate that the person who did it couldn't face the justice that they deserved. And it's pretty bad to think about, but I'm not sure I agree with how the manufacturer of the firearm that he used to have to pay the families. What do you think?
Well, personally, I don't agree with it for, simply the fact did Remington go in there and shoot up the school?
No,
No. Did an employee of Remington go up there and shoot up the school?
no,
No. Did Remington tell this person to go shoot up the school?
no.
No.
Maybe. I don't
I
know.
hope not.
I hope not too.
If they did, then they deserve to pay that.
I agree.
But if they did not, and they didn't have no personal involvement in this shooting, then what they shouldn't have to pay nothing because they're not at fault. They simply manufactured a weapon. Guarantee you, the guy who got the gun did not at all buy it from Remington themselves. Probably bought it from a criminal,
Yeah.
most likely bought it from a criminal because criminals don't care about the law anyways. They're gonna do what they want. Another, or they got it from a gun shop. Everything was fine if they passed a background check. Where that could also be, honestly, because of the fact that with the background check, if they never got help for anything, if they felt depressed, angry, sad, whatever, they ain't going to go up there and a lot of people don't like going to therapists and all that kind of stuff. So nothing's going to appear. But that's a topic for another time. The fact that they have to pay for something they did not do would be the same thing as let's say somebody robbed a McDonald's and then all of a sudden the lawyers because someone got shot at McDonald's from them getting robbed, all of a sudden McDonald's lawyers, no, I'm wrong.
Yeah, you're
Yes,
confusing me.
I'm confusing myself. Okay, so basically take it as somewhere gets robbed and all of a sudden just because that place got robbed and you made whatever, all of a sudden they just look at you like, hey, you need to pay these families a bunch of money that somebody got killed in their family there. It doesn't make sense because you didn't do it yourself. Same way these people didn't do it. My analogy's a little off on it, but, at the same time, what if they didn't do it, why should they have to pay? And me personally, I think it's messed up they had to pay money because no amount of money can get your kid's life back. No amount of money. And we can, talk. You can talk all day till your face is blue about gun control and all this kind of stuff. But this ain't even the case with it. This is simply just saying we have to put the blame on somebody. We don't care who it is. We just need to put the blame on somebody to just to be like, oh well, it wasn't the shooter's fault. It was the gun manufacturer's fault. When if you think about it, that's doing that's a disrespect to the kids who died that day. And the reason what I'm saying is it's disrespecting them because you're not putting the blame on the person that did kill them. You're putting the blame on some other person who had nothing to do with it.
And I can understand that that they need someone to go after, but you go after the family, like the person if he wasn't the one who purchased the gun, that you go after the person who did purchase the gun for them. If, and I can understand like, if they did pass a background check, because people can be crazy and not show any signs of it until the bad times happen. And I mean, again, I hate it for the families and the kids that had to go through it, but this, in my opinion, is not right. You cannot just sue a company just for having a product. Like if someone, if he did it with a pair of scissors, do you go out and sue the scissor company? No.
Yes.
It would make no sense.
But especially the scissor company, Peyton, that has the you buy them and they're automatically dull, like
Hmm.
the little child scissors. That company to sue them. They deserve to be sued. They're not scissors. They're just two pieces of metal. You try to cut paper with that doesn't work.
I just don't understand people's thought process. Now, I have a different view than most of the people, most of my friends with it. Whenever even comes to gun laws, like I believe there needs to be stricter laws. Yes, I do. Whenever it comes to owning guns, but it also, because for one thing, I believe that you should have to, if, in order to buy a certain kind of gun, if it is something like an AR or an AK-47, stuff like that. A lot of people go for those because they look tactical and not kind of like with that old wood finish.
Mm-hmm.
Even though a 30-30 round is bigger than a 7.62,
You look at a 5.56, it's almost the size of a 22.
yes, but people just simply, just because it doesn't fit in their parameter, they go after it. And I'm surprised they go after them more than they do pistols, because honestly, pistols are more compact. They can hide it more, but you don't really see much shootings with pistols.
Thing is, if you actually look, according to the FBI, I think it's like 76, 77% of all death by guns, the death is with a handgun. Not with a rifle, not with a shotgun, not with a not with anything. It's with a pistol because pistols are concealable. Pistols are easily you can hide them anywhere and nobody's going to know. And then boom, just think. There's even those guns out there that you can get that's plastic, like those ones that you can. It's weird. It's a weird thing that they have for those, but that there's a way of doing it to make them plastic and they can still. You had to put the firing pin back in it to get to shooting it. It can still pop shots off. But, you know, I think personally, don't get me wrong. Do I think there shouldn't be any gun laws out there? I don't believe in that. I think there should be certain gun laws to protect one the citizens, and two, there should be other gun laws to protect gun owners too. Because in my opinion, if gun owners honestly get a bad rep all the time. And if you look, statistically speaking, more than 75% of all gun owners out there are law-abiding citizens. They don't commit crimes. They don't even get a speeding ticket. They're out there just going to work, taking, paying their bills, living a life, and that's it. Most of them ain't out here doing stuff. 99% of the time where there is a shooter or or any shooter out there, gang violence, just random shootings. Most of the time, they are criminals. So I think it's time for us to stop blaming everybody else and start actually blaming the people who's doing it, which is the criminals.
I agree with that statement, and what I think about when it comes to gun laws is that, for one thing, it's a little bit too easy to get a gun. Yes, it's good, but yes, it's also bad. If you're the good person, it's good. But if you're the bad person wanting to do bad things with it, it's pretty bad. It's even worse. Now, like I said, if you are the kind of person that believes in gun control and you've never held a gun before, then you have no right to say anything about it. You have to be around it to fully understand. It's kind of hypocritical if you've never even touched one. Like you can go out and have an opinion that it's your free right as an American or a human being even, but most of the people out here just want to find something to complain about, something to go for, something we like. People focus on what's wrong with the world and all the bad things that happen. Name one good thing that you see on the news. I guarantee you can't. Because everything's so negative if it ain't about COVID-19 patients dying and the the death count on the side of whenever it goes on news. It was like, oh, you been on it? Is it like a stock? Is it going up? All these deaths that's happening due to COVID and stuff like that. Why should that be news? It shouldn't. Kind of like whenever it comes to mass shootings and stuff like that. It's a thing kind of like whenever it happened with the Zodiac killer. He killed for publicity. He kept doing it, and whenever they stopped airing his stuff, he stopped killing. So, if anything, you're encouraging these people to kill by making it public.
A lot of other countries are actually stopping publishing who actually killed them,
Make it good.
so they don't get publicity for it and everything, and they shouldn't. One thing I think people should focus on, because if you make a list, the good things about guns outweigh the bad things about guns, 100%. Because the only person that can stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Somebody that is actually sane and somebody that actually cares about law and order will be the only person that will be able to come out and take down someone that's bad, who's trying to do wrong. Just like with anything, there's going to be people doing bad things. That's how it's going to be. That's how the world works. There's always going to be a bad person out there. But there can also be good things about just about everything out there. There's a good and a bad. And with guns, the good outweighs the bad 99% of the time. Because without guns, a lot more people, innocent people, would probably die out there. That's my opinion. That there'd be a lot more.
I don't blame you for thinking like that. I especially agree with what you said. The only way to handle a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun, and I understand that, and I agree 100%. Like even like according to this, semi-automatic rifles aren't even the top thing with mass gun shootings. 62% is committed by handguns of all types. 48% is semi-automatic handguns. 40% with revolvers. 25% with semi-automatic rifles, and 13% with shotguns, which is kind of understandable because shotguns really don't go that far. It's more for close.
But in a school,
Yeah, but
I'm surprised they wouldn't didn't use more.
but if anything, it's weird that even if someone did a study on like the percentage that AR AR-15s and AK-47s have been the main site for um, mass shootings and stuff like that. It's been on the news and stuff like that. If the top is pistols, why are they still going after rifles instead? Just because the way it looks, and probably more people carry pistols than anything.
Mm.
So they don't even have a good reason.
But
They're
I in my opinion, what the reason why I think with rifles and everything when it's easier to be able to look at and be scared by it. Like this is what they use in the military. This is a weapon of war, as they call it. But in my opinion, I think just think if it came down to it, and this is just my opinion. But like I said, everybody has their own opinion. It's America. That's a good thing about it. Everybody can have their own opinion or their own way, the way they think things happen. If our government decided to do whatever it wanted to do, and let's say it says, you know what, I think 3/4 of the population needs to go bye bye, and they start killing people. What do you think is going to be able to stop the military from doing it? Rifles or handguns? Rifles are going to go further. Rifles can do more damage. So, in my personal opinion, I think the reason why they go after that is because a lot of people that don't like guns, and most people in the government don't like guns. There's still people in there that do, but I think a lot of people just don't. That's in the government now. I think those people would like to get rid of those rifles, just because rifles you can defend yourself a lot better. You can defend yourself against the government a lot better, because as long as there's guns and there's guns that do damage, then the government can do what they want to do. And I'm not saying that 100% the government's trying to do all this stuff. I'm just saying in that scenario, that's one reason why guns exist. Is to make sure our government doesn't get a wild hair up their butt and think that they can go around doing whatever they want when there's a reason we have laws and we limit what the government can even do. That's just my personal opinion on it.
Now, it looks like it took a spike in 2012 whenever it comes to 12 events in 2012 whenever it comes to mass shootings, and again it went down, then went back up in 2015 with again 12 until like even on the year 2021 with there's been 10 events, 63 dead, and 2020, which is whenever like most people wasn't going out and stuff like that. It was back down to 6 like it was in 2014 when it was low. But you gotta think, like from the year 2000 to like from the year 2000 to all the way to 2011, it's been below below 7 instances. But now it's kind of normal at around 10. Like the most was in 2017 with 22 instances, 22 events with 162 dead.
And again,
And
we want
that's
to really, alliterate that we mass shootings and school shootings things should never even happen.
correct.
We disagree with it 100%, and we'll always disagree that none of that stuff should happen. But I think what we just want to come to the conclusion of is, hey, just because it does happen, and just because they use a certain tool to do it, doesn't mean that necessarily that tool's bad. It's the person who did it. Maybe we should stop looking at the tool they use and start looking at the mental health.
Yes.
Because, and statistically proven as well, that basically mental health in America is bad.
Yes.
One, because of these phones,
To relied on them.
social media. Everybody wants to get those clicks. Everybody wants to get all this stuff. Likes on their photos and everything. There's all this mental health issues, and that's what I think we should be focusing on more. Because honestly, if and honestly, it'd be a nice thing to have if we could make therapy free. Didn't cost no money. Maybe you could just go onto an app or something and just talk to somebody about whatever you're feeling, and that person can talk to you back.
There actually is something like that. Because I was watching Steve-O's podcast,
Mm.
and I think there was something that I can't remember the name of it, but if I think of it, I will leave the link down below because like everyone needs someone to talk to. It's, and like whenever it comes to stuff like this, like it's a very touchy subject. I know a lot of people get bent out of shape over a lot of things in this world. And some of it, some of it, rightfully so. But you can't always be the victim. Yes, you're a part of this world just like everyone else is. You go through things just like everyone else. But let me remind even myself, that we're not perfect. We're not special. No one is special. If you think you are, you're
There's
wrong.
billions of people in this world.
Yes.
Not even the richest person on earth is special.
No. Because even he'd probably tell you that because whenever you get rich and something like that, I've heard, um, like Dan Bazarian, whatever his name is, he said whenever you reach the point of where you can have everything, it gets depressing because there's you've basically got all you want. You can't reach for something else greater,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why a lot of people get a lot of billionaires, millionaires, celebrities, and stuff like that get depressed because you can have all this stuff, but objects is not what makes you happy.
Except Elon Musk, he just keeps inventing new things. He just keeps on inventing things, constantly self-driving cars. Now he's just like, you know what? I'm bored of Earth. I need to go back to my spaceship on the other aliens that I'm with because he's been creating some weird stuff, and we're back. You know, when just think going to Mars and stuff. Like, I that's a different topic, anyways. But I think if everybody could just stop for a split second and take a breath. Nobody wants to take a breath and look at it from somebody else's point of view. And we're kind of going off a tangent here away from that, but it kind of bleeds into the fact of the mental health. If everybody can just take a breath, your life ain't going to be perfect. Nobody's life, my life ain't perfect. His life ain't perfect. You know, nobody's life is perfect. Not even the richest person on earth is going to be perfect. There's still stuff they hate. But if you could just, anytime you get mad, you take a breath, you're going and you think on it, and you, what is it, the thing where you supposed to, you think on it for so long, and if it still pops in your head, then you do it,
I don't know what it's
or
called,
something like
but
that.
I know what you're talking about.
But you know, basically it's simple. You just think on it, and eventually your brain will come to conclusion: do I need to do it, or do I, or do I not? Because too many people rely on emotion, and if you let emotion control you, that's where you failed. That's where you screw up. With this whole news thing, with what this said on the news, that's going to that invokes emotion for us, for just about everybody. Some good, some bad emotions. But at the same time, emotions, yeah, are emotions, and that's what usually drives us to do everything we do in life. But we can control those emotions. We can let them control us or control them. And if we let them control us, then at that point are we really in control of anything? Anytime we let somebody get mad, or we get mad because somebody made us mad, we're giving them control. Whenever, somebody makes fun of you and you get mad, you're giving them control. When somebody says something you don't like and you get sad or you get frustrated, you're giving them just a little bit more control, and you're having a little bit less control. Never let never let your emotions run wild, because that's what's going on right now. And with the emotions how they are, it's not sustainable to have any kind of solution to come about, because everybody's too busy screaming instead of shutting their mouths and listening and having normal conversations with people.
And another thing, whenever it comes to like the feeling of entitlement that you feel, it mainly happens with our generation and lower, where these people feel like they're entitled for all these things, feel like they're deserved something, and but no, in reality, no one is deserved anything. You are just like everyone else. You put your pants on one leg at a time, just like everyone else.
I put both legs on at once. I do it differently.
Or you just jump into them.
Yes, I have them set up like a like suspender type thing, and I just jump into them and get ready to go to work.
Um, I know I can understand a lot of this is such a like whenever you feel like that you're owed something, you have to sit back and go back to what you said, think on it. Or do you really deserve it? Most likely not, because nothing in this world that you go through is something that, like, whenever you go through hard times, um, it helps you become stronger. But if there's no hard times then that you go through, you really don't learn anything. Um,
That's why you see all those spoiled brats and stuff out there that you look at and you're like, oh, these people are so snobby, or look at them, oh, they don't have a care in the world. I mean, there's some people that never have a hard time, but there's some people who act like they never had a hard time, but it's just an act.
one thing that we all need to remind ourselves in this world is that whenever you wake up, be glad you woke up. Don't don't wake up feeling like who can life can I fuck up today.
You know what? There's a lot of people out there that like to do that.
Yes. Like it goes back to that feeling of entitlement that you think you can control someone else's life. And I there's a, everyone is so sensitive anymore to all these little topics and stuff like that. And the one thing I want to ask is just simply why? Why do you worry about every little thing? Why does everything bother you? I don't even think it really does bother them. I really don't think it bothers them at all. I just feel like they just want to complain.
Their life's
Like,
boring, so they need to do something.
like people, if you don't say a certain thing that you like, boom, you're canceled.
Yep.
It's cancel culture and all that. I hate cancel culture with a passion. You cannot ignore. You can't change what happened. You can't change anything what happened in the past. You can't change how a song is. You can just ignore it. But it's kind of like I like to think of it like if you're someone who like drinks to get over a problem. If anything, you're just pushing it off.
What are you
You're
trying to say?
I'm not just because you've been drinking doesn't mean I'm talking about you. Um, but there is a lot of people that will simply drink to try to forget. But you're just gonna keep on drinking because you're never gonna forget. If anything, it'll become more of a habit for you, and drinking will still remind you of what happened. Like, no matter how hard you try to forget something, you can't. You just gotta end up having to cope with it. And it also goes back to you are just like everyone else. Be comfortable with where you are. If you're not, work on yourself. Focus on yourself. Don't ruin someone else's day. If you're wanting to for help, there's plenty of people that would love to help. But you also, if you do want help, you also got to listen and take an account of what they say because
Even how they say it.
and even how they say yes. Like this whole podcast was the reason why I I wanted to start this is to basically everyone's entitled to their own opinions. It's not like we come on this show to just bash everything that we see. Is we mainly try to be generally positive about things
Hmm.
because that's what people don't want to be pissed off at the world. People. Well, at least I hope they wouldn't want to be pissed off.
There's some people that like to be.
Yeah, but I feel like everyone should be entitled to have their opinions out there, no matter who you are. And whether people listen or not, oh well. But if you enjoy doing it, then continue to do it. Even if it doesn't get you anywhere, it's just a matter. It's not necessarily where you end up. It's mainly about the journey. It's a lot of people say that backwards. Also, it's not about the journey. It's where you end up. It really just depends on how you look at your life.
You learn a lot through the journey compared to where you end up at. Yeah, you learn a lot where you end up at. Like, well, how could I done this differently? How could I done this better? But at the same time, the journey is what makes you or breaks you, not where you end up.
It's true. And this one's gonna be cut pretty short, mainly because of it's kind of hard to come back from a negative topic. It's just mainly like this is here. You could watch it or you cannot. You can listen to it or you cannot. It's there. No one forces anyone to do a thing. It's kind of like whenever a lot of people won't complain about Dave Chappelle stuff or even Joe Rogan stuff like that. No one is telling you you have to watch it. And kind of like Dave Chappelle said, it's like, oh, I don't want you're vulgar. You say all these mean things. He said, you clicked on my face, motherfucker.
Hmm.
No, you don't have to watch it unless you just want to get pissed off. And if you do, you can't really get mad except at yourself. But um, anything you want to end on, Adam?
Just be nice. There's there in a world for in a world full of assholes. Be the nice guy. Because even if it is full of assholes, you being that nice guy, it's gonna get you a lot further than being negative 24/7.
Amen. You look like you're about to pass out.
Nah, I'm good. I'm good. A little tipsy, but not nothing too bad.
My only thing is, like you say, be nice. I understand that, and that's okay. Be honest. Whether sometimes a lot of people are not honest, and those are the people that I can't stand. You can be honest in good honesty is good and bad. Sometimes it's bad because sometimes it's something you really shouldn't say, but you still do. Because sometimes you really don't have a business of saying it's not your place. But a lot of people like to be honest because it feels like if they're not honest, then who will be?
Remember as a kid, the old thing, honesty is the best policy. I learned that as a kid.
Yeah, that's kind of out the window. That's like a lot of people forgot about that.
Yeah, and it should.
Yeah,
I mean,
ish.
it is. Just because. You're gonna if you hurt somebody's feelings because you're telling them the truth. I'm not saying if somebody says, "Do I look pretty in my makeup?" You say, "No, you look ugly, bitch." You don't say that. Like you can be nice, but you be honest about it. Like you be like, with that makeup you wore yesterday, looked better on you, but this isn't bad either. You can do it like that. But you always be honest because I guarantee you, if you ask somebody how your makeup looked, you'd want them to be honest and not, oh, you look amazing. In all reality, you look like it, the clown. So I mean, it's literally as simple as that.
But people tend to overcomplicate
Yes.
things, always, especially now more than ever. But um, nothing about Bigfoot this time.
Well, listen, Bigfoot's honest. He'll admit it. He likes eating people, but he's nice about it. He only eats people when they come into his territory. Like he didn't do nothing wrong. Like he's like, you came here. It's kind of like somebody comes in your house. They break in. You gotta do something about it. You can't just let them stay there. Or they might eat you. So Bigfoot eat. I mean, listen. In all reality, with Bigfoot, I know a lot of people don't believe in Bigfoot. Just how it is. A lot of people don't believe in aliens. I believe in aliens. I believe in Bigfoot. But I mean, if I can ask you one thing to take away from this tonight, besides the serious stuff, Bigfoot believes in you, so you should believe in him too.
Well, that's a very beautiful saying. From all of us here at Red Forest, I'm Peyton.
This is Adam.
You have a good night. Thank you.